What's up, 11.7 fans? We have an awesome guest today, someone that has kind of gone viral on social media recently. He is the assistant coach at Indiana, expressed his opinions on the third-paid assistant coach not getting passed, but this is actually a coach that James and I have both played against. He used to be at Virginia Military Institute, also known as VMI, and we have a lot of cool connections between us, so this will be a fun interview. Casey, go ahead and introduce yourself. Let the fans know who you are and what you're about.
Casey Dykes. I'm the volunteer assistant. Work with hitters and infielders, base runners, coach first base at Indiana University.
Nice. And so Casey is, I guess, what do you say? Proud to say that you are a part of one of like the 3 programs in the Big Ten that had voted for the third paid assistant. And as a volunteer coach yourself, I'm sure it is something that deems close to your heart that it didn't get passed. But that's not going to stop you. You're a young coach. You got a great career ahead of you. Just a little like speed bump in the road, I guess some would say.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was it wasn't just me, man. There's people all over the country that were disappointed about this. Fans, coaches, the players. I think that's what was really cool about this whole thing. And obviously with the tweet and all that, I was just kind of expressing my opinion in the moment. I'd been quiet the whole time and just thought I would because, just thinking about family and all that. But to see all the players that, that were favored in that tweet and retweeting it and commenting on it and all that, I think it just shows how important this is to the players, that they feel like the universities are really, really backing them up by giving them the support they need, with the coaching staff and with the numbers, with the ratio and all that. So I thought that was, maybe the coolest thing about it all.
Yeah, no, it really was. And the traction that it drove was cool, like as an outsider, because, excuse me, it was cool because you really saw like the whole college baseball community come together. It was like the little guys versus the big guys, and everybody teamed up. And I think that really opened some eyes at the top of the board for the NCAA. Like, hey, like maybe we should help these guys out like in the future, whether it's a third paid assistant or maybe just a 4th coach. In general, the ratios are just out of whack. The players deserve better. Most of the players are paying for their college, at least to a certain extent. So having another coach there would really help them develop because that's what they deserve. So
I want to touch on that too, Coach. And if someone's listening who maybe doesn't know what we're referencing, I just want to read a little snippet of this tweet. And personally, we reached out to you when I read this tweet. I really felt like I knew you just from this first paragraph. So I'm going to read a bit of it. You say, "This vote doesn't affect me. I've spent my whole career living off peanut butter and jelly. And as former college players, we know, like, we ate that in the dugout."
Yeah.
And then you go on to say, "Those who know me know I prefer it that way. I'm in this career for the players." And when I read that, it honestly sent chills.
Literally goosebumps right now.
And the reason it really affected me like that is because anyone who really has had a good experience in this game and anyone who's wanted to stay in it, I've stayed in it after playing. I've coached college summer ball in a low-level league down in Houston, Texas. And everyone who stays in this game, they meet a coach or two that really shows them how much they care about them despite their personal circumstances. And when I read that, I was like, this is like, I know this guy. Like, I've never talked to him. I've never met him, but I know everything I need to know about him. And like, it really just bothers me so much that people like you are being passed over by people wearing suits that maybe didn't read a proposal.
Right.
So it really just gets to me personally. But we're honored to have you on, man. Really are.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I think too, let's not get lost either. And, the position I have right now at IU is a position that, probably thousands of people across the country would trade, to be in.
Oh, for sure.
I have an unbelievable situation here. And even at any level of college baseball, to be able to have the opportunity every day to show up and be around, 35, dudes in a locker room and hanging out and hitting fungos and talking shop and watching baseball and talking baseball and throwing BP. I mean, that opportunity is something that, I don't want to seem like I'm taking for granted because it's not that way at all. Definitely not trying to play a victim in this circumstance. I knew coming into this job, I left a paid job. I was a recruiting coordinator at VMI and left a paid job with benefits and everything to come here because, me and my family decided that we thought this was, the best situation for us at the time with a new staff coming to IU. obviously with the tradition of the baseball program here, but really just the school, as a whole. The opportunity obviously to work under Jeff Mercer, a guy that I think is, in my opinion, the best head coach in college baseball. I've seen enough of him. I worked with him. I've played for him beforehand, and to come back and have an opportunity to work with him is something that really drove that. So I knew that, coming here was, going to be, I knew the situation I was getting into. Yeah. So I don't want that to be lost, but it is definitely something that, touches me just because of, I know the situation that there's a lot of other, volunteers in my shoes that are going through kind of the same thing. And this is a big piece.
So, Coach, you got a big series this weekend against Minnesota. It's going to be crunch time. I always liked, and I know Ben always liked, when the calendar turns to May, like there's just a little different air around the games and preparation. So I'm sure it's a fun time of year for you guys.
Yeah, it is. This is a big stretch we got coming up. Got Minnesota at our place this week, and then go on the road for a couple weekends, Illinois, Michigan, and then finish up with Rutgers here. So it's not going to get any easier, that's for sure. So it's going to be a fun stretch for us, and just got to keep doing what we have been doing lately, and feel like we'll be in good shape. So
yeah, well, I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. I know it doesn't matter to you guys, but we over here, we think you guys are going to get yourselves a chance to host. That would be pretty fun for you guys. You guys definitely deserve it. You've got the talent and you've got the W, so it's just a matter of taking care of business, it seems like.
Yeah, we just got to keep going. We've been playing well lately. We started off the year kind of up and down early, and just trying, new staff and players getting used to us getting used to the players, and doing all that. And I think, as we've kind of got going, it's really been clear kind of what the vision is, and you see the team kind of start to understand, what the standard is.
What has really come together team-wide for you guys that you think is key to that?
I think that our team has finally found a standard that we all want to play by and live by, and I think everyone's bought in now. At the beginning of the season, it was a little iffy. We were still learning what the standard was and trying to figure it out, and now I think we've all bought in, and we're all playing confident and playing to that standard.
What the expectation is, every day out, and starting to all move in that one direction at the same time. And when we do that, we got a chance to be a pretty good ball club. So it's been fun to watch, and our guys have just been getting after it. That's what's been the best, man. It's been they've been kind of creating their own culture here, their own legacy every single day, and it's just gonna kind of keep going. They're gonna make what they want out of this year, and it's gonna be fun to just sit back and keep watching these guys go get it. So
absolutely, I bet that's so rewarding seeing them form their own little bond like teammates and go out and play for each other. That's always something really cool to sit back and watch. Taking a step back though, so everybody knows Indiana is one of those northern states that gets no respect, blah blah blah. What's the biggest challenge as far as during the winter months to make sure the kids still get their work in? Does Indiana have an indoor facility where you guys go and take ground balls and stuff, or is that limited in your case?
Yeah, well, obviously we're trying to get outside as much as possible. It's going to be cold sometimes, and that's just part of it. We got to we're going to play in cold. We're going to play in cold weather early in the year, and we got a turf field. We have unbelievable facilities here where we can go inside, and anytime we absolutely need to, and we have our cages and an indoor facility right here at the facility, and then we got we'll go inside our football facility, which is obviously full-size football field where we can go in there in the winter months if we need to, and we can hit. We've played live scrimmages in there. We can go in there and get work. You can do everything you need to do. So we have the facilities here to accommodate to any kind of weather and all that. So definitely feel like you're able to prepare the way you need to. You're not able to get outside, but that's not something to complain about. If you look for an excuse, you're going to be able to find one. It doesn't matter, no matter where you're at. So we have plenty here to do everything we need to do to prepare. So
no, that's really cool. And it's cool how the game of college baseball is kind of changing more and more to favor teams up north. You have indoor football facilities now, baseball stadiums, because I know Minnesota just got a new one. Indiana has a brand new one. Michigan just got a brand new facility. So you see teams in the Big Ten now starting to invest a little bit into baseball, which is good to finally see.
I was going to say, it's cold a lot of places. I mean, I went to Virginia and I was like, this is not what I thought I signed up for. It is. And so I specifically remember was my junior season, so this would be 2016, and we touched on earlier that you were kind of the dude at VMI. We played a game at VMI, and I swear to you, it was the coldest game I had ever experienced. So when you were at VMI, you really led an impressive, charge of hitters out there with Matt Pita, just to name one. God, you guys could really swing the bat, and it seemed you guys could swing the bat here at Indiana. We've talked about, we've had Arizona State on, and we called them the Bash Brothers. But seems like you got your own little nickname. I like to call it the Mad Attack, because you got two guys that can absolutely swing the bat. They've got like 45 extra base hits between the two of them. So I guess between the two schools, I mean, are you like the hitting whisperer, so to speak? Like cold weather doesn't seem to matter, with you being able to teach these guys how to hit.
I've been fortunate. We had at VMI, and if you played against us at all during that stretch, we were fortunate to have some really good players, some really good offensive players, some really good athletes that came through there, on both sides of the ball. And here, obviously we got a super talented roster. Definitely have been fortunate to also have along with that some guys that love to work. Like they love to be in the cages. They're smart, they're invested. And when you get a group of guys like that are willing to, listen and work to make changes and continue to buy in to whatever it is that the process is that you're trying to follow as a team and as a unit, as a cohesive offensive group, guys individually tend to have success. If we get ours, then you're going to get yours, is what we always talk about. And that's kind of what we talk about as an offense, as a team, that if we get ours as a full team and your team is first, that's the primary goal in everything that you do, then at the end of the day, you as an individual, you're going to get what you want out of this whole thing. It doesn't work so much the opposite way around that. So I think the primary thing is just trying to teach them that. And obviously, if we were to sit here and talk, mechanics and approaches and all that, we'd be here till 2 a.m. But
at least.
So.
Well, you mentioned the guys are smart, and I've only been coaching for 2 years, and it's been nice to have the guys that you feel like you can really dive into things with instead of just roll them out on the lineup card, so to speak. So I know technology it's crazy how much the game is not the game, but the things you can do in the last 5 years have really changed with technology. Is having smart players, does that make using tech more simple, or maybe a little easier to dive into the tech and say, okay, let's look at some weird numbers? Because I know Indiana is blessed to have some of that tech, and you guys use it well. You mentioned the smart hitters. It just made me want to put 2 and 2 together with tech.
Right. I think so much that side of it, we have smarter people who take care of the technology. They kind of run the numbers and manage that type of stuff. When it comes to that type of stuff, but we have people around us that are totally invested as well, helping us get the numbers we need and use the technology to benefit the players as much as possible. And we have all that stuff. We have all the cameras and the TrackMan and Rapsodo and Hit Tracks and all that. And it's all great if you have an identity as an offense and you use it to help that identity and really push that identity and guys understand what you're using it for. It also I think it can hurt guys too if you're not looking at it and using it the right way. So we try to just teach them, the right way to use it and have the guys who are smarter than us, help us put it together and crunch the numbers and hand that to us. And then we can just take the information we get out of that and show it to our players and show that why that information is sport, why that information is going to help lead to them being a successful offensive player, all the way around. So,
yeah, well, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it seems like it's a pretty nice recruiting pitch too, to be able to tell kids like, look, everything we're willing to invest to really figure things out for you guys. And it seems like it's a big movement, but it's got to be a nice tool shed to have before everyone buys in.
Yeah, it is. I think, when you start to look at college baseball as a whole, obviously, you hear it all the time, recruiting is the backbone of programs and all that. And I think here, just as a staff, and I've known Coach Mercer for a long time and watched, some of the teams that he's had a huge hand in and recruiting, and then obviously leading those Wright State programs and those offenses they had there. So I've known him a long time. He's been a big mentor of mine. And in our opinion, the development part is just as crucial, if not more crucial than the recruiting.
Agreed.
I think you have to be able to recruit at a high level. But once the players get to you, what's next? What are they going to get? I think that's when you talk about smart players and they're in the recruiting process and they're starting to look for, hey, what's the best fit for me? And they're getting recruited by a ton of different schools that, they all have fancy things. They all have great jerseys. They all have, cool Twitter accounts and nice facilities and all that type of stuff. But, when you get down to the meat of it, a smart player is going to look and say, what has this staff done to develop players like me? How do I fit into this program? And really that's kind of what we pride ourselves on here. And that's what we've all done in different places that we've been. And it's cool now to kind of get with guys you've known for a long time that have done things that you agree with and that you believe in and that you bounced ideas off of each other for so long. And now you get to come together and work together with them every day, in the trenches with the players and really pour it all into those guys and watch these guys, really work to develop.
Right. No, exactly. And while we're on the topic of recruiting, something that just came to my head literally like 30 seconds ago was like, Indiana, Big Ten school, like probably gets all the talent in their area. And then I remembered, wait a minute, Indiana State and Evansville are both killing it this year. They're recruiting some top end talent year in, year out.
Absolutely. Ball State is another one that's
here. Yeah, exactly. And so like competing with those three other schools has got to be tough because, I would say, what was it, like 2013 when you guys made a College World Series appearance with Sam Travis and Kyle Schwarber and them. I felt like they got the cream of the crop. Like anybody in the Midwest went to Indiana. Like that was a school to go to for baseball. And now it's like all these smaller schools are starting to figure out their recruiting pitch and their ideas with technology and things like that and grabbing good junior college guys. I guess my question to you is like, what's your approach now, knowing that you guys are still probably the top dog, but you still have to compete with other schools for the same types of players? And also, do you guys really dive into junior college players? Because James and I both play junior college ball ourselves, and we know about that recruiting process, and it gets pretty competitive.
Yeah, no doubt. I think the whole spectrum of college baseball as a whole, you start to really see, the playing field start to even out with now the new age, the social media, the exposure to players, the ability to find information and really gather information easily. I mean, it's all right there. You don't have to necessarily go digging and pull out a roadmap when you're driving across the country and try to find these high schools and all this. It's the technology now has really helped from that standpoint, and it has made, players a lot more visible to college coaches, and guys just don't get missed on as much anymore. And you start to see that, and now, across the country, there's a lot of mid-major programs that are producing as good of or better talent than, your high major schools. And I've seen it firsthand. Obviously, I played at a mid-major school. I've coached at mid-major schools before. And we had, players, and that was always the thing where you got players there and you're like, man, like, as a player at a mid-major, you're like, oh, you play against a Power 5 school, and you're like, oh, I can play with these guys. I could have played.
Oh, exactly.
You know how that is, and it's like that everywhere, and that's where the development part, I think, is that much more important. And we'll recruit, all over the country. Obviously, we'll look into junior colleges and do all that, just like most schools will. But at the end of the day, it's about finding the right guy that fits, what we do. The right guy that fits the culture that we're building, the right guy that fits the makeup, the right guy from an athletic standpoint that fits what we feel like with our strengths from a development standpoint, we can get in here and continue to push them to a place that is going to make the best version of themselves, which at the end of the day, you hope that's somebody that is, helping your team win a lot of ball games and also putting themselves in a position to go play professional baseball and be successful in professional baseball.
Yeah. And so for the listeners out there that don't know what an incredible recruiter Coach Dykes is, I will paint the picture for you as a former rival of VMI, because I played at Mercer University, which was a interconference rival for Virginia military. And I'll tell you what, like the talent you guys had was bar none, like the most professional ready talent. And to recruit a kid to go to, in my opinion, one of the worst places to play baseball at. The campus isn't pretty. It's up in the mountains in the middle of nowhere in Virginia. The stadium's nice. The field's really nice. Great for hitters. But between like Jacob J and Matt Pita, Peyton Maddox was the catcher of that team.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Colin Fleischer hit about 25 home runs, and then you had Josh Winder, probably the best Friday guy in the nation, throwing like 92-mile-an-hour Mariano Rivera cutters at your hands. I think you guys had like 6 or 7 players drafted in the last couple of years, and to get those kids to commit to a military institute that wasn't the Armies or the Navies or the Air Forces, that had to have been really tough. But I mean, golly, you guys, as far as professional talent, you had probably the most in the SoCon and top 5 in the mid majors across America.
So what we're saying is you can give yourself a pat on the back.
Yeah, no, the recruiting pitch must be the recruiting pitch you have must be top of the line for sure.
Those I mean, what you get at that place is you get guys that love to work. That's just the bottom line. It's what I learned at VMI is you can find out really quickly when you're talking to a player, when you're talking to a family, who wants to be there, who doesn't, who's there for the glitz and glamour, or who's there to work, and who's there to go win ball games, and who's there to become a better baseball player in their career. And at VMI, you just know that because, like you said, when you get on campus, it's different than any other campus in the country. And you walk on there and you realize, hey, like there's going to be some things here that I'm going to have to go through. And you can look at it and say that, I'm not going to get the experience that most people are going to get at a normal type college atmosphere. Or you can sit there and say, hey, this place is actually going to help me and eliminate some of maybe the distractions of a normal college atmosphere, and it's going to help me really focus and invest on the things I came to college for, which are academics and baseball. So and you find out which guys want to do that, and you find out which guys don't. And it was actually a really quick recruiting process a lot of time with guys, because it's either like an instant no, or it's an instant like maybe, and a maybe is like, yeah, this guy might be in, so it was an unbelievable experience. Coach Hadra there at I don't know if you know him. He's an alum from there, and obviously is running an incredible program. I had the opportunity to go work for him for 4 years and for 4 seasons, about 3.5 years. And he actually, funny story, and it all comes full circle, but he had a hand in recruiting me to go to Western Kentucky as a player.
Oh, is that right? That's cool.
While, and he gets back to VMI as an assistant, and had bounced around to a couple places, and then gets the head job there. And when he gets the head job there, I was fortunate enough to get in touch with him, and we were able to talk, and I was able to go out to Lexington and spend some time with him, and that was really my first experience as a paid assistant. And he, really just kind of let me work, just trusted me to do, what I wanted to do, and was unbelievable just as a leader and as a head coach there. And they're in great hands. And we were fortunate while we were there to, have some really good offensive teams, some top 10 offenses in the country over the course of those 3 or 4 years. And I think we had more underclassmen drafted in a single year than they had ever had in history.
There you go. I knew you knew. I knew you knew.
Yeah, we recruited a couple top 100 classes, which they had never had before there, and so there's still talent there and young talent there right now that here in the next couple of years they're going to keep getting better and better, and he's going to keep leading them to a good spot. So they're in a great place, and that place is special, man. That place is awesome, and I really enjoyed my time there. It takes a tough dude to go to school there and
absolutely,
and take in just everything that comes with that experience. So, but it's beneficial at the end, man. That place is awesome.
Oh yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you, I mean, clearly you've had a lot of success in all of your endeavors, but what fires you up most when you go to the yard every day? You like working with the catchers more? You like working with the hitters more? Like, my question would be, of all the things, which of them at the end of 3 hours of doing, not lessons, but work, could you say, oh damn, it's been 3 hours? Like, what really gets you going? What fires you up?
Honestly, man, if you really want me to, it's just the relationship part of the whole thing with the players, like the hanging out at practice, the hanging out in the locker room, the hanging out in the dugout with those guys, and really like investing in what's going on with them in class, what's going on off the field, like what's going on with their family, finding out more about them, how, especially now, like it's our first year at IU, and we didn't recruit a lot of these guys. So a lot of this whole process over the past, 6-7 months has been, obviously the development part has been a huge part of it, and trying to teach them our processes and our systems and how we do things and what we believe and why we believe in them and all that. But a huge part of it, and a fun part of it has been just getting to know these guys. You got guys, freshmen all the way up to redshirt seniors that have been at IU for, 1 to 5 years that we didn't know before that. And now you're trying to figure out and learn everything about them in the past. You've seen before we got here, you saw the numbers and that's it. And these guys are, there's nothing you can learn about these guys from that. You got to get in there and you got to talk to them and you got to get in the cages with them and you got to get on the field with them and you got to sit in the locker room with them and just find out, what gets them going, what makes them tick, what they like, what they don't like. And just really that's what fires me up, honestly. That's what fires me up to come to work every day. When I leave work every single day, like that's what I'm excited about. And then I get to watch, I got 2 little boys right now. I got a 2-year-old that's at the park as much as I can get him here. And to watch him kind of hang out with the guys, that gets me going too, man. That fires me up.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. So one more question before we let you go. I know you got some kids to take care of back home. So this is kind of a unique question that has nothing to do with baseball, but just as let's see how well you know the players of the team. If you had to choose one player on your team right now, current roster, to run for president in 2034-ish, somewhere in there, who are you putting your livelihood? Like whose hands are you putting your livelihood into and why?
And why? I'm going to give it to Logan Kalitha.
Logan Kalitha. Okay.
Logan Kalitha. Logan Kalitha, center fielder. He's hurt right now, actually. Hasn't been playing. He's been down. He's had a couple injuries this year as a senior for us. Was a junior college guy.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason I say that is because there's nobody that brightens up a place when they walk into it like that dude does.
I love it.
He's the same guy every day. You know what you're going to get from him. You know the effort you're going to get every single day. And when you're looking for somebody in a leadership position, and that's what I think of when I think of the president, I just want somebody that's going to be the same guy every day. That's going to be honest, that's going to be open, that you're just going to get the realness of them. And so that's why I'd take Logue, man.
That's amazing. So for all of you employers out there looking to hire a kid about to graduate from college, seems like Logan Kalitha is the perfect person for you to hire, and look for Kalitha's name on like the 2034-ish election. But no, I agree with that. I think that's a good answer. And Coach, we really appreciate having you on. You're welcome back anytime.
You guys host. We'll bring you back on.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
Right before you guys host that regional, we'll have you back on. And if you ever need anything from us, just let us know. We'll be here for you. I
really appreciate you guys, man. Keep doing what you're doing, man. It's good for the game. Absolutely.
Good afternoon this weekend, Coach.
All right, boys. We'll